deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Welcome. We begin with Bell and Bird. We are now called together, called by bell and bird, called by mountains and plains, called by the beat of our hearts to join again the living tradition we share, to answer again the call of justice and love. Today, with the bell ringing from the Metropolitan Cathedral in Mexico City and the turquoise-fronted Amazon parrot calling from the trees of Brazil, let us remember the second of our tradition sources, words and deeds of prophetic people which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love.
And we welcome you to this service of liberal religion, which affirms these four noble truths. It is a blessing you were born. It matters what you do. Your experience of the divine is true, and you don't have to go it alone. I'm the Reverend Meredith Garmon.
And I'm the Reverend LoraKim Joyner. We are coming to you from the One Earth Retreat Center in Fairfield County, South Carolina. We start with the acknowledgement of the lands, the waters, the plants and animals, humans and otherwise, whose being is bound up with our own in mutual dependence, and whose ghosts inhabit this land still.
Some archaeologists think that the first humans may have set foot on this land 20,000 years ago. Others say it was more like 12,000 years ago. At the time of first European contact, this spot from which we are zooming to you would have been within the sphere of Siouan speaking peoples, particularly the Catawba and the Wateree tribes, descendants of the earlier Mississippian cultures that had inhabited this region for millennia.
Non-human kin also have their lives entwined in this land. The Carolina parakeet, extinct since 1918, once roosted in these lands in South Carolina. Whatever the story may be of the land where you are this morning, wherever we are, the land's deep past calls to the present-day occupants to join in the work of truth-telling, education, healing, and justice for all peoples and beings. Thank you for coming. We are glad you are here.
And now we'll light our chalice. And I invite you at home, if you have a chalice or a candle you can find, to also light that. I light our chalice as we light our chalices with these words. We are not bound to win, but we are bound to be true. We are not bound to succeed, but we are bound to live up to what we have. Our opening hymn is number 1022 in the Teal hymnal. If you have that, it's Open the Window, and this version comes to us from the UU Congregation of the Foothills.
Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Oh, this round palm trees and borders round the sky. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Oh, they border close you and some border around your mind. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Promise each other again and again. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the circle as wide as it can. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, children. Open the window now. Open the window, children. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in. Open the window, let the dove fly in.
And now, our UU Minute.
Chapter 2. We are called Unitarian as opposed to Trinitarian, even though that particular theological dispute was never central to what we have been all about. The Orthodox called us Unitarian, and this may come as a surprise. We couldn't come to consensus about some other name to call ourselves, so the name Unitarian stuck. Which raises the question, how did Trinitarianism become Orthodox in the first place? Roman Emperor Constantine's 31-year reign began in the year 306, when he was 34 years old. His administrative and financial reforms strengthened the empire. 6 years into his reign, at age 40, Constantine converted to Christianity, becoming the first Christian Roman emperor after centuries of Christian persecution at the hands of the Romans. For Constantine, devoted to bringing administrative order to his empire, the mosaic of various practices and doctrines among the scattered Christian communities was something that had to be fixed. So, in 325, Constantine convoked the Council of Nicaea, calling all the bishops together to hash out just what Christianity was, and just who Jesus of Nazareth was. Constantine didn't care how these questions were answered, just so long as there was a uniform answer. He invited all 1,800 Christian bishops, and more than 250 of them actually went to Nicaea that summer, representing every region of the Roman Empire. Constantine himself was there for some of it. For 3 months they discussed and debated, drafted and revised statements, and in the end they adopted a statement that established Trinitarianism as orthodoxy, and the more Unitarian form of Christianity, advocated by a priest named Arius, was declared heresy. We have been the heretics ever since.
Our bird note for the day. It is a time of transition. We are moving into fall here in the southern United States, and the bird migration southward is beginning to slow down. But it's still awesome. 2.5 million birds went over South Carolina last night. And we're beginning to get our winter birds, golden-crowned kinglets and the dark-eyed juncos. The juncos tell us of the falling numbers of migrants, which also tell us that it's a special time of the year. It's quieter here now. The birds are not breeding. The skies are clearer with the humidity. We can see further because the leaves are falling. What is visible now to you in this time of transition? The world is certainly in a time of transition, of social and political changes. We are into the information age. We have artificial intelligence, and we are threatened with so much biodiversity loss. climate change, and the rise of authoritarianism and polarizing politics in many places of the world. I was at a No Kings rally last Saturday in Columbia, South Carolina. Serious issues here, but there was a festive air. All the inflatable animal costumes. I myself went with rainbow wings and a rainbow shirt and a sign that said no kings, but kingfishers. Yes, kingfishers. For I wanted us to remember, at least for me, that birds tie us in a common connection that moves beyond politics and categories, that we belong together and with each other with an evolutionary tie of birth or hatching, life and death. For all of us, beauty and tragedy comes and goes like the juncos. Let the birds open us to the beauty of this earth. Yes, to kingfishers, king birds, kinglets, king rails, king penguins, king parrots, and king eiders. Yes, to life.
And now we'll have a koan moment. Koans are little teaching devices in the Zen tradition. Zen students in many lineages work their way through 500 or 600 koans. The Book of Serenity is a collection of 100 koans assembled in the 12th century by Hongzhi Zhengzhu. This one is number 67 from that collection, from the Book of Serenity. It says, in the Flower Ornament Sutra, the Buddha said, "Now I see all living beings everywhere, and I see that each of them possesses the wisdom and virtue of enlightenment, but because of their delusions and attachments, they cannot realize it." A Zen student working on this koan would go to see the teacher one-on-one in an exercise called dokusan. And the student would recite the zoan, the koans he was working on, and the teacher might then say, "Show me the enlightenment possessed by all living beings everywhere." How would you respond if you were asked to show the enlightenment possessed by all living beings everywhere? And so we'll have a time of prayer. Dear Spirit of life and ground of being, source of healing and wholeness that we call by many names, be with us in these times when our hearts are troubled by the human seeming inability to find its way to peace, the conflict in the Ukraine, the war that continues to rage in Gaza. We are hopeful that the resolution process that's begun can reach a fulfillment, but we also carry an anxiety that it might not, that the ceasefire will not hold, and that violence will continue. We are aware of all the hopeful possibilities for our species, our planet, people doing good work, helping each other, holding each other, inventing new ways to build health and happiness, prosperity for ourselves and for others. All of the things that we have to be grateful for, and all of the hopes that we will overcome the pain, we will hold together in a moment of silence. This is a poem that was written by Zbigniew Herbert, the Polish poet. Herbert lived through and was a participant in the Polish resistance in World War II, and this poem reads like instructions that might be given to a new recruit into the Polish resistance. It must have felt so hopeless. And yet, how do you continue under those conditions? Well, here's what Herbert says. Go where those others went to the dark boundary, for the golden fleece of nothingness, your last prize.
Go upright among those who are on their knees, among those with their backs turned and those toppled in the dust.
You were saved, not in order to live. You have little time. You must give testimony.
Be courageous when the mind deceives you. Be courageous. In the final account, only this is important.
And let your helpless anger be like the sea whenever you hear the voices of the insulted and beaten. Let your sister scorn not leave you.
For the informers, executioners, cowards, they will win. They will go to your funeral relief and will throw a lump of earth. The wood boar will write your smoothed over biography.
And do not forgive. Truly, it is not in your power to forgive in the name of those betrayed at dawn.
Beware, however, of unnecessary pride. Keep looking at your clown's face in the mirror. Repeat, I was called. Weren't there better ones than I?
Be aware of dryness of heart. Love the morning spring, the bird with an unknown name, the winter oak, light on a wall, a splendor of the sky.
They don't need your warm breath. They are there to say, no one will console you.
Be vigilant. When the light on the mountains gives the sign, arise and go. As long as blood turns the dark star in your breast, repeat old incantations of humanity, fables and legends.
Because this is how you will attain the good you will not attain.
Repeat great words. Repeat them stubbornly, like those crossing the desert who perished in the sand.
And they will reward you with what they have at hand, with the whip of laughter and murder on a garbage heap.
Go, because only in this way will you be admitted to the company of cold skulls, to the company of your ancestors, Gilgamesh, Hector, Roland, the defenders of the kingdom without limit and the city of ashes.
Be faithful. Go.
Grace has its own way of shaping what our hearts bequeath it. The toil of body and soul we offer up to the universe, and what the universe makes of it is not ours to say. LoraKim and I were at the No Kings rally, as LoraKim mentioned, down in Columbia, South Carolina last weekend, and we have been thinking about resistance. It's a big new Herbert's poem written as an articulation of that fatalism and grit that drove the Polish resistance in World War II may seem uncannily appropriate for our time when we are called to resist an occupying force. Is the world making any progress? Is the world getting more fair or more just? Perhaps there are 2 steps back for every 3 steps forward, and we are in a backward step right now. Or perhaps there is no overall trend, no steps further forward that will follow the steps back. We don't know. Activists for peace and justice have devoted much energy to devising strategies. Income inequality still worsens. Our black communities have been calling attention to police brutality since the 1960s. Atmospheric CO2 is not coming down. Desired outcomes have not been achieved. And this may be disheartening. It is less disheartening if we understand that achieving desired outcomes is not the main reason for activism. We inherit a Western philosophical tradition that has stressed consequences, like in the utilitarian dictum that you must so act as to produce the greatest good for the greatest number. And also in Kant's categorical imperative that tells you to imagine the effects on the world of everybody else adhering to whatever ethical principle you might be following. Eastern thought brings attention to another sort of consequence, to ourselves. If I chop down a tree that blocks my view, teaches Hinduism, each stroke of the axe unsettles the tree, but it leaves its mark on me as well, driving deeper into my being my determination to have my way in the world. According to Hindu doctrine, every action performed upon the external world reacts on the doer. When our work, our labor, our vocation, or our social action is a projection of ego upon the world, it is ultimately forlorn. Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, tells us those who perform actions without attachment, resigning the actions to God, are untainted by their effects as the lotus leaf by water. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give, whatever austerity you practice, O son of Kunti, do this as an offering to me. Thus shall you be free from the bondages of actions that bear good and evil results. End quote. In another Hindu text, the Bhagavata Purana praises those who, quote, have no desire for the fruits of their actions. We lose our center when we become anxious over the outcomes of actions. Do without attachment the work you have to do, says the Bhagavad Gita. We do need to take practical effectiveness into account. We also need, and this is the greater need and the one we in the West are prone to overlook entirely, to let our action flow from the depths of who we are, from the compassion and wisdom that is, as the Buddhists say, our inherent Buddha nature. Fish gotta swim, bees gotta sting, and it's our nature to live out of love. We are Unitarian Universalists, and our tradition emphasizes this life. We believe in social progress. We're committed to it. What we learn from the East is that we are more likely to achieve it when we forget about achieving. Don't think that you will attain good. Set aside that ego projection. And in setting it aside, we can also lay down the burden of worries about failure to be good. You do not have to be good. You only have to be who you are. You only have to, as Mary Oliver says, let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Only then, as Zbigniew Herbert said, will you attain the good that you will not attain. In the end, we are redeemed only by the kind of person it is our nature to be, not what we accomplish. As Zbigniew Herbert's poem said, the informers, executioners, ex-cowards, they will win. But that's not what matters. A line from The Lord of the Rings that has stayed with me since I first read it more than 40 years ago. It's that scene just after Gandalf has fallen to the Balrog in Moria, and the rest of the company escapes outside where it has a brief chance to collect itself and take stock. And Aragorn soliloquizes, "Gandalf, what hope have we without you?" And then he turns to the company and says, "We must do without hope." Doing without hope doesn't always mean dejection or enervating depression and inability to act, giving up, rolling over. Hopelessness is not always just despair. Hopelessness can help bring us into the present moment, pull us back from the sort of hope that has us living in our imagined future instead of the present. If we think of hope, as so many people do, as wishful thinking, then hopelessness is the salutary departure from wishful thinking. There is another kind of hope, which isn't about the future being different in any particular way that you or I would call better. "Let us gird ourselves and weep no more," says Aragorn in the next line. "Come, we have a long road." It's about acting here and now, without knowing what effect, if any, the action will have. It's about what the poet John Keats called negative capability, the capacity not to insist on a determinate, knowable meaning. It's about doing what we are called to do, not to make the world over in our image, but only to be who we are. It's about being courageous, joining the resistance with all our hearts and our breath and our love and our being, and being comfortable not being able to predict what will come of it. It's about listening deeply, speaking truth, and then letting go. Any other kind of hope is really another name for fear. What commonly goes by the name hope, hope for a specific result, is non-acceptance. It's fear of the world as it is, or the world as we're afraid it may become. Yes, strategizing is a part of doing. Goals and outcomes and plans for achieving are the manifestations of compassion. It's possible to plan for results without expecting them. Our hearts turn over to grace. Their labor, their sweat, all that our hearts are and have. Grace has its own way of shaping what our hearts bequeath it.
Grace has its own way of shaping what our hearts bequeath it. Grace keeps fashioning and shaping our deeds long after any hopes we had for them expired. It's nice to have energizing hope, for our burdens are so great. The headlines will not leave us alone. How many lives, bodies, and futures were blown up yesterday? And by whom? In this global lotto, odds are that everyone feels a loser. Many days it seems as if we go on without hope. I think the risk is not that we would give up on hope or even faith. Faith is in what matters, that it matters what we do, and that the beauty and dignity of this world merits our reverence and care. It's nice to have hope. We grow our faith. The real danger is when we quit, thus diminishing the chance for inviting grace and unpredictable positive outcomes, even when all seems lost. Many would say that conservation in Central America, particularly Honduras, is a lost cause. It's just about one of the toughest places with rampant gangs, one of the highest murder rates in the world, high levels of corruption, low levels of government efficiency, letting the powerful, the moneyed, and the drug traffickers rule the day. Some say it's as close to a failed state as anywhere in the world. And that's where I work. Beginning 15 years ago, I stuck my nose in really just to see what was going on and to be a witness to the loss of the parrots there, mostly macaws. They used to be all over the country, and now they've just been reduced to one small area in La Mosquitia. Over the years, I have witnessed firsthand the hopelessness of the cause of conservation, of saving the parrots there, because the indigenous people are losing their land to corruption and land invaders. And the poaching of macaws for the illegal wildlife trade without intervention approaches 100%. In 2014, in our project, not one macaw nest was not poached. No birds grew into adults and achieved freedom. We began our project, the people worked hard, and by 2016, none had been poached. Wow, I said, we have a solution. We can fix the world. Not so. The demand for parrots is relentless, the international pressure for these birds, and now only with great risk by the local people can they reduce this poaching level. On good years, we keep it to under 20% of the nest are robbed and taken to fuel the desires of people all over the world. And to even achieve this rate, the people have to take risks, work hard, work 7 days a week, patrol during the night, literally sleep under the nest. And it's not just the parrots that are being lost in this area. These same powerful special interests, illegal interests, want to take the land in one of the remaining great forests in Central America. This indigenous territory is broken up with pine savannas and then the forest. And the forest has been difficult and a challenge for the indigenous people to go into because that's where the people hide. That's where the illegal interests are taking over the land, putting in farms and cattle ranches, in many ways a way of laundering money from the drug trafficking. It was nearly hopeless in 2018 that people were not going into the forest. The poaching rate was increasing back up. And as you flew over this area, you could only get in by boat or a small plane. The forest began to look like a checkerboard. The forest canopy broken up by the illegal ranches that were taking the forest down. But then Grace stepped in. We got funding to support the local rangers to patrol and monitor, to take the risk to go into the forest and to build ranger stations. They answered the call to protect their forest and the critically endangered great green macaw that at this point was only nesting in the forest. This year, we had 4, the most ever, active great green macaw nests. And the communities declared it actually last year to be a parrot sanctuary, staffed and run by indigenous people, the only place like this in Honduras, if not in the whole world. But the enemies of good won't stop. A few years ago, our project truck was shot up during an assassination attempt of our 2 leaders there. They survived. Our truck needed some repairs. And the forest outside of the sanctuary continues to come down. It feels like being kicked in the gut every day to hear about the challenges and the losses in this country and in the other countries in which we work. I'd like to quit. But I remember Zbigniew Herbert, who tells us to beware of the dryness of heart. See the beauty and love the bird with the unknown name and the unknown future. Know that failure is always around. right around the corner. As Herbert warns, beware of unnecessary pride. Keep looking in the mirror at your clown's face. Repeat, I was called. Weren't there better ones than I? Yes, I look in the mirror. Aren't there better ones than I? I'm juggling and fumbling and bumbling all the time, a clown through and through. But there are also other balls in the air: beauty, resistance, solidarity. We must give testimony to the startling beauty and wonder of life. And motivated by all this, even we go on even when we think we are losing, because we are always losing. At one time, I thought I had lost too much. I was working for one of the first parrot conservation projects in the Americas, and it was during the Civil War in Guatemala. I came back and I went to divinity school to find a way to save the world and myself. I was not looking for a life partner. I wasn't looking to become a Unitarian Universalist parish minister or community minister or start a nonprofit organization. And then grace stepped in. My mother always told me that the place to meet a man was at church. During divinity school in Nashville, I attended the First Unitarian Church of Nashville to investigate who I was in the world. And there I met Meredith. Early in our relationship, I helped him move, an invitation for disaster to be sure, but grace stepped in. We were getting ready to move his heavy, long-drawered file cabinet where he had pasted and glued mementos of his life all over it. And this is the first time that I spied Herbert's poem, The Envoy of Mr. Cogito. As he read it, I stared over his shoulder and cried. He did too. So soon there was an engagement, and happily I called my mother and said her advice was correct. Church is a good place to meet a partner. And my mother, a lifelong Methodist, said, well, I didn't mean that church. So now when I counsel people who wish to get married, I don't come right out and say that marriage is about attaining the good we would attain. I don't say that it's attaining the good we would not attain, but it can achieve goodness, and it's worked pretty well for us. Now we're trying to build a new place. Meredith and myself here in South Carolina, the One Earth Retreat Center. This land has been tortured by farming, by cattle, by timber extraction, hunting, and the decimation of the Catawba people who lived here. But we hope to rewild it in our hearts as well. Will any good come of it? Will it be a lasting proposition we can give back to this earth? I don't know, but there will be goodness, and we will attain it together. Those who come here, those who watch and support, and those who come after us. May it be so. Our closing hymn is in the Teal Hymnal 1035, Freedom is Coming. You can sing along with the video here.
Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, freedom, oh freedom, freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh yes, oh freedom, freedom, oh freedom, freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know.
And so we come to the end of our service and extinguish our chalices. We extinguish this chalice and your chalices at home, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Well, thank you, Meredith, and everyone for being here or watching this. This was our first time. Meredith is up in the Zendo, upstairs here at One Earth Retreat Center, and I am, as you can tell, I am outdoors, seeing that view that is in the slide there. Our next service is November the 30th, 2025. We're aiming for the last Sunday of every month. We might move that around a little bit, depending on the holidays coming up in December. This is a retreat center. We have so much going on here. You could even come here live and be with us on our Sunday mornings where we do this once a week. We also are having every first weekend of the month a Zen and bird retreat at the center, meditation and nature practices and going for bird walks and Dharma talks. So please join us, but let us know. And we'll arrange this for you coming up in December and January. Coming up on our usually annual parrot pilgrimage, Meredith and I will be facilitating that in Nicaragua. It's a time of spiritual deepening. Again, bird and Zen, and joining with our people in Nicaragua who are saving the world as they save the parrots. And every step we take there will also be saving ourselves and the world. Throughout the week, we have live online events. Sunrise Birding for Life. It moves around depending on when sunrise. It'll be outdoors here looking at birds. It's about 15 minutes long. You can click on and look for the links here on our website, and it'd be lovely to have you. They also have recordings. Meredith also leads a Zen practice Tuesday through Saturdays. So again, check up on Meetup Group or on our websites to see when and how you can join these. And for those who live locally here in North Carolina and South Carolina, next weekend, we have a bird walk of the dead. And it would be lovely to have you there. So do check out our website. And again, we thank you so much for being a part here. And for those who are live here, this is when we would turn off the recording and you could have conversation and ask questions in a time to build community.